Good morning, Griffins, and welcome to ICT for this week. Last week, I set you a challenge on block coding using the create function down here to create your own game. Thank you to Tyler for sharing his. I'm just going to quickly share it with you. So here's Tyler's game. You can see scores going up. So excellent. Thank you very much, Tyler, for sharing that with us. So last week, I asked you to create a game and showed you how to do it. Today, you're going to do something similar, but we're going to almost work backwards. I've created a game, and I want to see if you can create one which is very similar. So I'm going to show you, first of all, the game that I've created. Then after that, if you think you know how to do it, you can go away and try and do it yourself. If not, I'll talk through how I actually created this game. Okay, so let's have a look at it. So in block coding, I've logged onto Espresso Coding. I've gone to block coding and I'm after a new app. Now, because I have already created one, I'm going to load up the game that I created earlier, and I call it Space Shuttle. So here it is. There we go. So if we have a quick look at the design, you can see that I've got a timer, I've got a score, I've got meteorite, I've got 3 alien spacecraft, space shuttle, and some buttons. Okay, if I click run, you'll get an idea of how the game actually works. So here we go. Oh. So the idea is that I'm supposed to be collecting and hitting as many of the alien spacecraft as I can. You'll notice that my score is going up when I do that. However, if I get hit by the rock, which I've got coming down diagonally, there you go, let's see if I can deliberately get hit by again. So it loses 2 points every time I get hit by the rock, and the rock starts in a new position. Okay, after 30 seconds, I get told the game is over, and so it finishes. So I've got several things going on here. First of all, I have my spaceship, which I'm able to control with the keys down here. So I need to use press events. So if the key is pressed, then something happens, and that moves my spaceship. I've got the rock that is traveling diagonally downwards from the start, and every time that hits the spaceship, I lose 2 points and it goes to a new place. I have got a score which goes up every time I hit one of these alien spacecraft. So I've got 3 hit events going on there with the score going up. One of these is worth 5, one is worth 2, and one is worth 1. And finally, and something that is slightly different, I've set a timer. Now to do this, I've actually set the variable called time. See, I've got 2 variables, one called score, one called time. I've set the variable called time to 30, and then used the after every 1 second, the time goes down 1, so it counts down for me. Okay, so I can see how long I've got left in my game. So that's how the game works. Okay, that is the game I'm going to get you to try and have a go at trying to create today. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to talk through, the different code that you're going to need to use this. Okay, so if you think at the moment that you are capable and you pretty much have an idea of how this is going to work, then go for it, have a go. If you get stuck, come back, because in the rest of the video I'm going to explain how that we can do this. Okay, so the code then I have used looks at something like this. So let's zoom in a tiny bit on it so it's not quite so blurry. Okay, so to start with, I've got 4 key press events. 1 for pressing the key across to the left, 1 for the up, 1 for right, and 1 for down. And each one of these corresponds to my space shuttle going in that direction. Okay, so whether I use the keyboard controls, the arrow keys, or I just press on the ones that are at the bottom in my design down here, the spaceship will move in the correct direction. Okay, we know how to do those. The other things I've got here is I've got a start event. Now the start event has the meteorites traveling diagonally downwards. Okay, and also at the start I've set the timer to 30 seconds. Okay, so they're the two things I needed to do at the start of my app. After it starts, after the event starts and things start moving down the screen, the meteor starts moving diagonally down the screen, I then want my timer to change. So here I've used an every so many seconds event. So this one that says every 1 second I change the variable time by -1, which means that every second that timer counts down 1. And you can see that working in the top corner. There it is, 29, 28. Oh, I got hit by the meteor, -2 points. So my time is counting down. Okay. So I've got my spaceship to move. I've got my things to start, and I've got my timer going down. Now I need to try and set up my hit events. Now I need the 3 hit events for the actual game itself, where my space shuttle is hitting the purple timer, purple spaceship, sorry, the purple spaceship moves somewhere else and I get 5 points for it. My second hit event, when the spaceship hits the green spacecraft moves to a random position and the score goes up by 2. And finally, the blue one does exactly the same thing and the score goes up by 1. Now, there's a really easy way of putting these on the screen. Once I've done the first one, I then just have to hit the right mouse button and I can then copy the code. So what that does is that makes another exact copy of this that I can then edit. So I don't have to go and collect as many of the events from the palette as I was doing before. If I decide I don't need it, I can just delete it, the same as I would for all of the others. My final hit event is for the meteorite. So if the meteorite when the spatial hits the meteorite, or the other way around, depends on how you want to write the code, meteorite is going to change to a different position. It's still going to carry on moving diagonally down the screen, and I'm going to lose 2 points. Okay, so now my game's running. I've got the space shuttle moving, I've got the rock moving, I've got the timer counted down, I've got the points being able to be scored. The final thing then is I need to actually set when the game's going to end. I know my timer is counting down, but that will carry on counting down. If I don't have a stop event after 30 seconds, it will carry on going. It will go 3, 2, 1, 0, -1, -2, -3. It will just carry on counting. It won't stop the game because I haven't told it to stop the game. So I then will need after 30 seconds, I need my app to stop and to tell me that the game is over. Okay, so this is the code that I would need to create my space shuttle game. Okay, 4 move events, 4 hit events, a couple of time events, and a start event. I did think about creating another thing and adding it to my game to make it that little bit more difficult, which would be adding another rock. If I did that, I would have to choose another rock, put it somewhere else. In my code, I would need to include it in the start to have it going maybe in a different direction. I would need to give it a hit event as well, just to make my game that little bit more difficult. But that's up to you. If you would like to give yourself 2 obstacles, then you can do. When you design your game, you don't have to do a space theme. I just thought it fit really well with what I was trying to do today. But I could choose any of the different things. I could choose any of the characters. I can choose bugs to do. I can mix and match from these as well. So I can choose any of the images that I want. The only thing I will need to remember is that I will need a time event and I will need a score event. Okay, a variable, sorry. So this is my game. This is my code. And what I'd like you to do today is I would like you to have a go at trying to create your own game, okay? Using this as the basis. So you're still trying to move a character around the screen with some description, You're still trying to collect 3 objects, which will give you scores, but this time you've got some kind of moving object which is going to take points off you. Okay. You're also trying to set up this variable timer, which is going to count down, and obviously the ability to stop the game after a certain time. So, like I said, big thank you to Tyler for sharing his game with us from last week. Anybody wants to share their game with us from this week, then please do so, either as a video, either as photographs, or if you actually save your app, your game, you might even be able to post that onto Google Classroom or email it to the school office and it will get to me so we can see it. Okay, it'd be really nice if we could see some other people's games and possibly even, you know, actually physically play other people's games. Okay, so good luck with your game. I hope to see some of them. And any questions, obviously, you can just ask on Google Classroom. Okay, so enjoy, and I will speak to you soon.